Hello y'all, so I'm back out of my brief YouTube retirement. Who would have thought it would have been politics that would have got me back on the screen, honey? I said I was going to sit this one out, literally, like I wasn't even going to propose until recently. No candidate was motivating me. I wasn't going for darn on Trump and his theatrics, and we got to talk about Trump today and his theatrics. And darn gonna bootleg Kamala, darn gonna acting like she black whenever she's convenient. I wasn't darn gonna enthused by her either. My candidate that I wanted did not win, which was Marion Williamson. So I said I was gonna sit this out. They ain't enough to send me to the poll. The only thing that slightly changed my mind was the fact that out of a shocking turn of events of all the people for Kamala Harris to choose as a running mate, she chose darn gone Governor Tim Walz, who has a darn gone impeccable resume, who's authentic, who has not fallen to any level of corruption, who works on an honest salary, who looks like somebody that's not able to easily be bribed, and has actually darn gone and came up with policies that is for the American people. So it's only off of the strength of darn going Tim Walz that I'm now looking back at Kamala Harris to be like, okay, she might get my vote at the polls this darn going fall or whatnot. But speaking of darn going falls and polls, honey, I don't know why people keep on falling for the bullshit known as Trump. Honey, darn on Trump never ceased to amaze me with his lack of intellect, proving every day he's not smarter than a fifth grader, honey. Just the same person that did not know that Hawaii was part of the 50th continental United States, but play devil's advocate. This the same person who is old as dirt, is one of the oldest darn gone people running for president. So yeah, with that being said, he was born during a time where Hawaii wasn't even a state, because Hawaii didn't become part of the statehoods until darn on 1959. So I give him a partial reprieve on that, because we know that his rich family brought his way through school. He never had to open up a textbook, and it shows. It showed that from elementary school onwards, he had other darn gone privileged kids darn gonna do his homework for him. And it's sad that somebody who doesn't even know the 50 continental United States. Now, it's certain stuff that average, everyday American people don't need to know. Like, if you're working as a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, well, maybe a history teacher need to know this. But outside of a history teacher, the people don't need to know all the states like that. Or especially the state capitals. But I'm thinking if you're running the highest level of land, the highest job title of the land that affects policies that affect the entire American people, I think there should be at least a civics requirement for anybody that runs for president. Like you at the minimum, you have to know all the states and the state capitals. Maybe the state flowers will be a bonus for cultural reasons, but for the most part, I would think my president would at least know all the states, the state darn gone capitals, and along with the territories, especially if it has the word U.S. included in it. Puerto Rico, I might give you a little bit of reprieve with your darn gone bigotry behind, but U.S. Virgin Islands, I think that would be a given. So what got me up here today with Trump is this little 30-second video clip right here.
Almost nobody in this room wants, who I think 85-90% of the country doesn't want to there.
I absolutely agree with you.
But the transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. And many of these childs, 15 years later, say, what the hell happened? Who did this to me?
So, in the latest darn gone transphobic theatrics, Trump done made the alleged claim that the Gen Z generation is getting darn gone free darn gone transplants down to the schoolhouse. Now, my thing is this, it's so much logistical shit to unpack with this shit. Where do I begin? I'm trying to figure out how does this work? Like, is this just the rich, privileged schools that Trump went to or whatnot, for the liberal counterparts that has his net worth, you know, the Caitlyn Jenners of the world, that didn't have to wait till they was damn near 70 years old to get the surgery? You know, is this the, you know, the grandchildren of the Caitlyns getting this shit? Because I'm trying to figure out at what darn average darn school where the average American citizen is darn living paycheck to paycheck, and this darn modern day recession time is darn getting courtesy darn transition services down to the schoolhouse. And I'm trying to figure out who's paying for the shit. Because I remember back when I was on darn government assistance many years ago, you know, Medicaid, food stamps, etc. Honey, them mugs paid for the bare minimum. I'm just trying to figure out who's paying for the services. And the children staying overnight. You see it talking about, you know, such and such darn get held at school Monday, and you don't see your children till Thursday, and they done already they done got the surgery and whatnot, and they wonder who the hell happened. I'm trying to figure out what school has even a doctor on staff. Usually the schools have the nurses that only give out the band-aids if you fall on the playground or some shit. They might be able to check your temperature or whatnot. They damn sure ain't got no doggone MRI scans or CAT scan machines or anything of that caliber. I don't know, maybe shit's done changed since I went to school, you know, 15, 20 years ago. You know, I don't know. But I remember back in the day, they didn't even want to pay for the basic of dental care. Honey, it's a reason why a lot of black kids looked like Plies before he got the darn teeth done as of recent. Now he look like Mr. Potato Head. He's smiling with them pearly whites. But back when he had all them darn silver grills and shit, you know, the Plies, you know, the modern day for the Gen Zs that watch me, the NLE Choppers and shit of the world, the Young Dolphs, and rest in peace, Tekashi 6ix9ines of the world, take it back to my day, the Ludacris's of the world, and shit. You know, it's a reason why your children had a lot of doggone grip, because that's the only thing that doggone and Medicaid would pay for back in the day. They would cover them silver caps, and that's it. This right here is a whole fake tooth. Most people wouldn't know that because it looks like my real teeth or whatnot. So I had to pay over $1,500 for this. Honey, Medicaid wasn't paying for that type of shit. You had to, that was a lustrous. So if they didn't even want to pay for a $1,500 porcelain crown for darn aesthetic of dental health. Now, they always talk about presentation back in the day and not looking thuggish, and your presentation matters. You want to look presentable. But when it came to darn dental calls, they paid for the cheapest stuff that made you look like a ghetto darn hood rat in a darn music video. I'm just saying. So you telling me they don't went from that to all of a sudden paying for goddamn $30,000 transition costs? Honey, they barely want to pay for the goddamn school lunches that is composed of square cold pizza, but they paying for $30,000 transition costs and post-care expenses as well. They holding the students overnight for observation and shit, because they got to do it. Because it's like if they doing the surgeries down to the schoolhouse, you know the teenagers ain't going to go follow the post-surgical protocol on their own accountants. They ain't going to go home and lay on their back like they're supposed to. Because, you know, post the implants. See, that Trump don't think about this shit. He just spews rhetoric and just let his simpleton followers follow suit. And they don't think about, well, you know, who is giving the education lesson of, okay, now Tammy, you know, turned into Tammy. Now for the first month, you got to lay on your back. You can't lay on your sides or whatnot. Yeah, you no longer can do football for the unforeseeable future, because we can't do no tackling or anything up here. You can't even lift above your head, so you can't lift no boots, or can't even put your helmet on for the first month. You can't do none of those things. I know it's Fish Week, Fish Friday, but you know, due to the fact that you just had your surgery, you got to avoid high sodium foods for at least a week. So to prevent exacerbation of the swelling of the area, you're going to have swelling for at least 4 to 6 weeks. It's going to start traveling down as the weeks subsequent to your surgery. When your doctor, your plastic surgeon starts explaining that shit to the 16-year-old, to the 13-year-old, that, oh yeah, nowadays they ain't got to worry about carrying books. All this shit now is on the tablets and stuff in this modern day generation. So I guess they say, you know, you can still do your homework and stuff down to the bed. We'll give you an excuse. We'll tell the darn teachers that you're physically present here at the building, but you're not able to walk around because, you know, due to the distance of the classrooms and the propensity of somebody bumping into you, we can't risk that happening, you know, for a multitude of reasons. We don't want to set your surgery back. We don't want any capsular contraction going on. So we're going to keep you in here in the nurses station for a couple days or whatnot. And we're going to still mark you present on all your darn classes or whatnot. And, you know, you're excused from doing any sort of physical activities. So you're excused for this semester for doing any, you know, gym activities. We'll push that back to the next semester. You know, I'm trying to figure out how does that conversation go down to the damn schoolhouse when you get the damn surgery from darn, you know, male at birth to female at birth. Because it's like, these are the conversations that we have to have as adults. We got to talk about, you know, the post-care as far as the diet is concerned. We got to talk about alterations to sleep patterns. We got to talk about, you know, not even being able to wash our own hair for the first month because we can't lift above our darn shoulders for the first month. So somebody got to do our hair or whatnot. So it's like, is all this part of the teenage transition package down to the schoolhouse? Trump. I'm just trying to figure out. And it's like, if this the case, honey, can I turn back time in my shit verse? Can I turn back time? Honey, let me go back 15, 20 years and get my shit for free. Here I am, struggling, as we speak. You know, I'm contemplating getting my girls finally done. Because I'm tired of being a pitiful A cup. I want to go to a full D or whatnot. And hormones is not, it looked like my hormones is not going to get me there or whatnot. So here I am, trying to get my credit back right. I'm up in the low 600s. I'm building my credit and stuff up. I'm trying to get qualified for care credit, 0% down, paid over a course of time. Make sure that I get approved for such amount where it doesn't put me at 100% credit utilization. That way, you know, comparable to all my other credit cards and balances, I still have an overall utilization under 30%, which is good. You always want to have your utilization under 30% if you can help it. 10% if you really can. But yeah, it's like I'm trying to factor all that in while trying to get a car as well. And you telling me the darn teenagers are getting damn shit for free. In a day and age where the average teacher with a master's degree qualifies for food stamps, because the teachers are struggling to get paid. They're advocating for $60,000 a year minimum wage as a teacher. We got teachers who can't even get $60,000 a year, but you expect us to believe that these same schools are able to the same schools, matter of fact, that ain't armed with proper security with all these modern day terrorists that supports you, by the way, that go shoot up the schoolhouse, these white nationalists. That's another conversation for another day. We can't afford proper security to defend against your supporters blasting up the schoolhouses. We can't afford to give a teacher a salary where they ain't got to take out government assistance. But somehow these schools supposed to be able to have a nurse and doctor, not only a doctor, but a plastic surgeon that's skilled in transition surgery down to the schoolhouses nationwide. This the bullshit that comes out of Trump's mouth. And his followers don't question none of this shit. They don't never think about the logistical obstacles that this faces. Like, if it was so easy for schoolhouses nationwide to be able to offer transition services of that caliber for the free, shouldn't we be able to advocate for a universal K-12 free education? Shouldn't we be able to advocate for more healthy school option meals in the schoolhouses? if we are able to darn on just splurge and be able to have children get darn on $30,000 worth of surgery for the free 99. If this was going on, shouldn't we be able to advocate that at this point in the game, all teachers, even if they was darn on pre-K teachers, the only thing they doing is showcasing the darn on children flashcards and shit. Every teacher, pre-K through 12, should be able to have $100,000 plus salary. If we got it like that, where every child can darn gonna get transition services at their beck and call. If the children was really getting transition services prior to 18, honey, every teacher should be getting $100,000 plus salary. We should have darn gone security guards for darn gone the folks like this that's blasting up the schools left and right on Mad Day, because they don't know how to properly compartmentalize they darn gone feelings. See, now when we get darn going in our feelings, honey, grandma darn gonna get the switch for us, for our asses, get the belt or whatnot, and darn gonna tell us to sit our ass down. Or we had to do them darn gone squats with the books in our hands and shit. Honey, y'all get mad, honey. Y'all, and this is not for everybody, but a lot of y'all get mad, honey. Y'all go darn gonna play shoot 'em up. Y'all go play Grand Theft Auto down to the local schoolhouse. And then on the rich side, y'all darn gone don't even know the differences between Hawaii being a state and darn gone Puerto Rico being a territory, and how Puerto Ricans can darn gone opt to be citizens of the U.S., etc., because they already are a part of the U.S. territories. They can choose to darn gone vote if they live within the United States. You know, the fact that we have a presidential candidate that doesn't even know that basics, but is just spewing out all types of rhetoric and is able to darn gonna have a decent chance, shows how misogynistic and racist our country truly is. And I'm truly scared this November, because y'all got Kamala on the darn on books, honey. But y'all didn't vote for her the first go round. And I ain't even talking about her as far as Kamala, but peep the double entendre. Yeah, she lost the first go round, and then the one that truly was her, that was the upper echelon, the creme de la creme, that had all the qualifications, lost. Honey, Hilary Clinton was the most qualified candidate to run for the presidency. And she lost twice to a man. She lost to Barack Obama, a freshman senator that did not have nowhere near the tenure nor previous experiences that darn gone Hillary had. She lost that go round. And then she lost to somebody that didn't even know Hawaii was part of the 50 continental United States. An old, rich, privileged white man who has generational wealth, who don't even need to have the least bit of a 5th grade education, beat somebody of a upper echelon college educated caliber that has served as a first lady, a secretary of state, and governor. Had more previous darn gone politician experience than any other candidate that ran, and darn gone lost to somebody that didn't even know that Puerto Rico was a U.S. territory. And this is somebody that is loved universally by both black, white people. Honey, black people love the Clintons. Honey, white people love the Clintons. Honey, the Clintons were universally loved. And she still lost. So that got me worried for Kamala's ass. Because, honey, a lot of people darn gonna peek through Kamala's darn gonna shucking and jiving bullshit of, you know, jumping in and out of blackness when it's convenient to her. We ain't heard her say about her being black so much until the last darn gonna 4 to 8 years. And then the thing is, it's her black side is darn gone similar to Obama, where it's not non-direct black American. But, you know, neither here nor there. That wouldn't really make a difference to me, because I don't get caught up on color. I get caught up on the policies, and if you're truly authentic. It's not about the skin color. It's about, is you really going to do for the people regardless of it. But we expect, if you actually is of us, you would be the one to be quicker to do it quicker than the other folks would. We didn't see it from Obama. I don't really see it from Kamala. Obama's darn going Kenyan behind. First generation American. Then you got darn on Kamala, first generation American on both sides. And my thing is this, she could have really, if she was authentic and really would have tapped into her true ancestry, that would have made for a more powerful, touching story than anything to say that, you know, a girl that's a first generation American, as far as being a Caribbean American and a darn on Indian American woman, a true brown skinned sister is able to aspire to be of the highest position of the land. I think that would have darn on struck a lot of people, because this country is built off of immigration. Some darn gonna force their way in more than others, child. But you know, for you to be of an Indian woman and of a Jamaican woman, but when I look at the DNC, you got Meg Thee Stallion twerking and whatnot. And I'm not saying that you can't include, you know, hip hop artists that is black American and whatnot, you know, leaning to the black hip hop culture and whatnot. But that's not authentically her. And I mean, my thing is this: why not on the ancestral side include more of a legitimate cultural lineage? I think that would have struck better for me if I would have heard darn going Kamala down to the DNC say something like, "Honey, pour down the selector," and then all of a sudden the music comes on. Dum 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 de dum dum de dum dum dum. Honey, if Kamala would have said something in patois like "pour down the selector," and darn going all of a sudden have the DJ darn going dum dum de dum dum. Honey, if instead of Meg Thee Stallion coming out, if we would have had darn on Spice, and before y'all say Old Spice is too ratchet, honey, how much I done heard Meg Thee Stallion talk about her darn on coochie and everything else. We done seen her darn on butt naked up in the goddamn pool, slithering like a serpent. This the same one that was right next to darn on Cardi B talking about this some wop, this that, where that. Honey, if we could have Meg Thee Stallion with lyrics like where that, and darn going slithering down to the darn going in the pool butt naked like a goddamn snake, darn on humps all out on display. Honey, we could have had goddamn Ice Spice down there twerking it down to the goddamn to the DNC. At least that would have been more culturally darn going of a connection, because Caribbean people are known to be more expressive with their bodies and whatnot. And even if it's sexual, it doesn't come off in the same. It doesn't come off as grotesque, as it don't come off as tasteful as when some of us do it as black American. And I know that sounds so weird, but it's like if Beyonce do it, it would have been all right because there's a balance with her. If Rihanna would have did it, it would have came off a little bit more tasteful. But when you have somebody that's just seen as totally uncouth, you know, the Sexy Wiz, the Meg Thee Stallions, the Cardi B, where there ain't no type of balance, it's just like, really? I would have loved if she would have had darn on, if she would have had darn on Spice came out, not Ice Spice, but the chocolate Spice from darn on Love and Hip Hop. We would have had Shaggy. We would have had Sean Paul. And then Sean Paul transitioned into temperature, keeping you warm, not the right tactics to, honey. And you could have did a remix to talk about you have the right politics to darn on turn the country on, honey. She about to get the temperature warm. Honey, you could have had Sean Paul come out and do so much at the DNC. We would have had Shaggy. We would have had darn Spice. And there's a whole myriad of other darn Jamaican darn women and men that could have darn really amped it up. And that would have highlighted like the Jamaican American community that's not really talked about as much. You know, I guess since y'all say, well, New York, you already got the vote and whatnot. But what about those swing states that got a lot of Caribbean Americans in it that sometimes y'all lose out on? Like Florida, for example. Florida got a huge darn Jamaican and West Indian population. And it's like not only you would appeal to the Jamaican darn American base, but you would appeal to all West Indian Americans that are here in the U.S. Or whatnot throughout, you know, Florida, those, you know, states that's on the verge of becoming like swing states nowadays. What used to be dominantly red is now purplish. California, you would have had a more grass on or whatnot. And once again, it would have came off as more authentic. And that's why you got people wanting to support Trump, because with all his foolishness, we know that's authentically him. People would rather have an authentic jackass in the office that has the intellect of a darn going 3-year-old simpleton versus a highly educated brown-skinned woman that comes off deceitful and just darn gone tacky. Just darn gone uncouth and darn gone non-trustworthy worth a day. Because when you parade around at black churches, only during election time, when you talk about black mortality rates and all this, but you don't actually come up with policies to affect the root cause of the problem. You want to talk about affordable health care, but we don't actually address the corrupt industries that put certain stuff out that makes it where women have to go through the issues in the first place. Like even down to something as simple as menstrual pads. A lot of people don't know that certain menstrual pads is made with ingredients and stuff that can actually exacerbate certain conditions such as, endometriosis, fibroids and stuff that affects a lot of women, black women disproportionately more than any other race of women. Like if you was to focus more on getting to the root of the problem and addressing what causes said issues in the first place, that would be monumental for everybody. And that would even reduce the cost of having to even tap into healthcare in the first place. Now, it's nice to have universal healthcare when needed, but if you get down to the root of the problem, what is causing a lot of these unnecessary issues, the diets and the stuff that we allow in products and food that exacerbates and creates some of these darn dire issues within people, it's like we can see a huge drop in darn healthcare costs, and thus that inadvertently, but see, that takes down the people that's funding your darn pockets, the pharmaceutical industries or whatnot. Because it's better to darn in the country. It's sad that y'all get paid more and y'all rather darn continue to come out with all these experimental medications to treat the problem instead of darn focusing towards cures and darn holistic solutions to actually eradicate said problem. That's another issue within itself. And like I said, even down to a cultural level where you just shuck and jive down to the local churches and you like to talk about smoking darn weed, listening to Tupac before he even came out back in the 80s, even though Tupac didn't come out until the 90s, and all this, that, and the third. It's like it just comes off so unnecessarily phony and inauthentic. And it's like people rather go for the honest jackass than the smart brown-skinned woman that comes off as deceitful. If you would lead with just being yourself and being honest, and even on, like I said, a cultural level, if you was going to tap into the black vote or whatnot, if you would have leaned more into your actual Jamaican ancestry, and in addition to folks like, Little John, because honey, I ain't mind Little John being at the DNC representative for the 2 seats. He's from my neck of the woods, so I ain't saying that you couldn't have had the folks down there like Little John. But honey, my thing is this: if you're going to have the person down there that's responsible for the song "To the Window, to the Wall, down, ski, honey, if you want to have somebody as controversial as Little John down to the DNC, if you're going to have that's some wop Meg Thee Stallion, like I said, you could have got away with having darn Spice down to the goddamn DNC as well. And Sean Paul is goddamn the most commercially darn friendly universal around the darn way, honey. Honey, we can't understand hardly a word he's saying, but the darn music be a vibe, honey. And child, that might would have, nah. I was about to say that might would have got Beyonce out there, but honey, Jay-Z still ain't letting up on Beyonce with the Sean Paul rumors. But yeah, that's why people entertain, looking at Trump like the Amber Roses and stuff of the world, because they gravitate towards the person that's going to give them the tax break, that's going to tell it like it is, even if they have the intellect of a darn second grader or whatnot. It's like people are so looking forward to just somebody just authentic, even if the person is inherently corrupt. So, like I said, Kamala's reprieve is she chose a candidate for vice president that actually is authentic himself, that, you know, is for the people, that has not accepted no type of corporate bribes that we can see or anything, that I can say is a good choice of counteracting doggone Trump. Now, people was talking about, oh, she should have chose a fellow brown-skinned person or a black person. I would have think that would have been even more inauthentic and pandering, because once again, who black was she going to choose? Number one, she already going to have a hard enough time as it is, being a woman and a brown-skinned woman that's parading around in blackness as it is. We done already seen that in this misogynistic country, that they chose a darn gone uneducated white man over the most highly educated white woman in the darn gone nation. So do you think that the brown-skinned woman that's equivalent in qualifications to Hilary going to even have a remote of a darn gone fair chance? I'm just pointing it out there like it is. Like I said, it might have done better for her to have Tim Walz on the ticket than another, because I hate to say it, if she even would have had Barack Obama on the ticket, honey, that would have darn gone brought the stock down. I hate to say it, in this misogynistic darn gone country, even on the liberal side, honey, they needed to have a good darn gone white equivalent, honey, to try to offset the fact that she's brown. Even though she's very high yellow and she's indigenous, honey, she's still a brown-skinned girl. Brown-skinned girl, honey, they don't want nothing darn gone melanated up in that seat no more. They darn gonna consider darn gone Obama was enough. They was not, nobody was expecting for senile Joe to darn gonna hand over the reins to darn gone Kamala. But now the cards have been dealt, and this is what they doing to try to get her on up in there. So my thing is this, oh Lord, my light darn gonna continue flickering. But yeah, I need her to come off as more authentic. I need her to address policies that's actually going to get to the root of the problem of said illnesses and stuff. Not just talking about universal health care, but actually funding, you know, treatments that's actually targeting that are proposed cures for certain diseases, such as the house in Virginia, such as, you know, the G word, STDs and stuff. There has been revolutionary treatments that have been in development to target said, you know, diseases specifically without targeting the surrounding cells, you know, even down to cancer. There is this doctor, I always shout out her praises, Dr. Nicole Green, I think her name is, that came up with an invention where she can target the individual tumor cells of cancer without having to take out the surrounding healthy cell tissues that is normally commonly associated with radiation and chemotherapy treatments. That way you can darn gonna just eradicate the cancer without taking out the healthy body tissues as well. That way you don't have to deal with all the side effects such as hair loss and, you know, your skin being fried, dyed, and everything to the side, like a burnt chicken on a doggone grill too long because of the darn chemo and radiation over an extended period of time. When you darn gonna have revolutionary treatments like that, I think when it comes to treatments like that, the government should automatically just throw money into it. Like, we got money to throw tens of billions of dollars towards a war involving countries that doesn't even involve us. And yes, they ally countries and shit, but if we got the money where we can just throw 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 billion dollars towards Ukraine, why couldn't Dr. Nicole Green get a grant from the government for just $1 billion? That would have been revolutionary. That could have darn on changed the outcome of how cancer is treated throughout the whole course of the world. When you have something of that type of philanthropic caliber that can change the scope of modern medicine for the better, and darn gonna make treatment even way more affordable or whatnots, because this treatment has shown to be more effective and whatnots. And if you fund it in such a way, you can make it where the cost is a lot less than that of chemotherapy treatments and whatnots. Chemo is blasting people's insurance with $10,000 payments and whatnots. People going in the hole, taking out their whole life savings for chemo and darn on radiation treatments, versus this is a lot more healthier of an alternative, more effective, according to studies, and it can darn gonna be as little as a few $100s. Which, you know, with all these paying for systems and stuff that's out nowadays, you can split that up between a firm, Klarna, Cecil, Afterpay or whatnot. So, you know, split $500 over, you know, $125 a week over a course of 6 weeks, $125 down deposit. Or with a firm, you know, if the cost is $1,000, $1,200, you spread it out, of course, 12 months of $100 payments, something like that. Like, why isn't we hearing stuff like that from Kamala Harris? If she starts talking more like that, if she starts tapping into her true ancestral lineage, if she just comes off more authentic and they're going to have policies that's actually for the everyday, average American people and convey it in an actual, you know, just a way where it doesn't come off as darn on force. Like, throw all the theatrics with the darn on Meg the Stallions and shit to the side. And they're gonna give us true, authentic policies. Hell, just at this point, go ahead and put Marion Williamson on the campaign as well. Honey, that will win some people over. Honey, just go ahead and throw her in there somewhere. Secretary of State or something. The advisor. The matter of fact, she need to be on the advisory committee to help shape up your image. Honey, you get somebody like Marion Williamson up in there. You already got Tim Walz as the Vargon VP. Honey, you get that in place. I can see her actually winning and actually being a good quality candidate, one of the best presidents that we've ever had. But until she change up, it's just like she's going to be Obama 2.0. If she even makes it in there. Because like I said, sadly, the way that darn Hilary lost, there's a good chance that she might lose as well. So, y'all leave y'all thoughts down below. What are y'all thoughts on this local election? Trump's latest darn ignorant comments about darn the trans girls and guys getting the surgery down to the schoolhouse. Like I said, honey, if I can turn back time, honey. Now, I don't know who I'm going to go to for the time machine. Because, see, now we millennials, we getting old, child. We done got so old, they done canceled out Cartoon Network. So I can't even go down to Dexter's laboratory at his house no more. And they're going to go through the time machine. They done moved everything over to Max. See, back when I was young, they called the shit HBO. Now it's not even HBO, it's Max. So now we got to find Dexter's darn new address and see if he still got the time machine up and running. Or you know that show back in the day that used to have the time travel shows that prevent, you know, certain historical events from being altered. Like, if we can darn get to one of those two darn cartoons, child, let me go ahead and get my shit done for the free 99. Like I said, here I am darn splitting the, you know, trying to darn organize my shit across Care Credit, or the hope like hell like United Healthcare pays my shit since they passed the law in May that we can darn get the shit done under the guise of gender dysphoria. Oh, that's another reason why we need not to have Trump in office, honey. He talking about rolling everything back, honey. Not only on the nationwide ban of darn minors, honey, but honey, he's going to target adults too, honey. Darn shit going to be looking like Texas, honey. They going to be spit in the bathrooms. They going to darn go back to civil rights era and darn make it where we can't even go to the hotel, honey. They already trying to make it where they don't even have to darn make a damn cake for our asses. They now going to go back to the ways where they can darn kick us out of hotels and shit. Honey, we don't need Trump up in office. We really don't. But at the same time, we don't need nobody that's just going to go in office and just be Obama 2.0 and just be a face or just darn say shit that sounds cute on paper or just on TV, but don't actually darn do the actual work either. So hopefully when we do get Kamala up in office, she actually does the right thing by the American people. Like I said, if she really want to win some other folks over, such as myself, honey, go ahead and get darn Marion Williamson up in there somehow, some way on the board of advisors as the darn Secretary of State or something of a high caliber child. But yeah, that is it, y'all. Those are my thoughts. Y'all leave y'all thoughts down below. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all soon with more videos. Mwah.